Lil Wayne, headline Super Bowl in New Orleans. How badly do you want to hear those words?
Just as bad as I would want to see my name at the top of that list when I was that whatever age it was, and I would bust into the office and get that Billboard magazine. Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. Super Bowl in New Orleans coming up too. I'm not sure what year was it. 25.
Next 25.
Yeah, you know, I'm just letting them. You know, I was just letting.
Oh,
them
they know who they got to call.
I'm from New Orleans. I was just letting them know I'm from New Orleans.
They know who they got to call for
I was
that.
born there, so you know, just letting them know. I'm not sure if they knew that I am from New Orleans. So yeah,
Only one way to do it.
What's up, everyone? It's Books&Looks TV. Today, I am going to be discussing what I consider the downfall of Lil Wayne. First, I would like to acknowledge the highs and lows of his career and how I believe he ruined his own legacy by perpetuating anti-Blackness. But I will also acknowledge how I feel that Lil Wayne was a grown child star and how growing up in New Orleans and being surrounded by adults who basically adultified him, ruined him as well, and probably contributed to his addiction and skewed worldviews. And again, this is just my opinion. So in my opinion, Lil Wayne is the first child gangster rapper. This was before the NLE Choppers, the Lil RTs, and so on. He was 11 years old, pressured to become a father by his mother.
Said your mom came to you, bro, at 14 and said she needed a baby. What was that type of conversation like, especially after losing your pops, man?
So my mom asked me, it was no more, it wasn't nothing as like asking me to run to the store. I know what she was going through. We had just signed a national deal and went on the first tour. Tour used to, when I would tell her we're going on tour, that used to mean like I'm going for 2 weekends and literally coming back during the week and going put it. Nah, when I told her this time we signed it, I don't think I came back for like 3 months straight. She was like, if this about to be what you about to be going through and about to be doing, I need to talk to you. We had that talk and I was like, nothing, let's do it.
He joined a group that was called the Hot Boys and literally named after a criminal group in New Orleans.
Well, you end up joining Cash Money and they form the Hot Boys. But that name was actually taken from a street crew called the Hot Boys.
Yeah.
And they were actually terrorizing the city around that time.
I mean, you know, that what they say, you know what I'm saying? They were doing what they were doing, you know what I'm saying? And the idea was brought to Baby and Slim, you feel me? I mean, you know, we was young, we was thugging, we were doing what we were doing, you feel me? And at the time, like I say, UNLV was the biggest on Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? It was like a reformation, like, you know what I'm saying? And we became the Hot Boys off of that idea, man. You know what I'm saying? Is this many of us? Is this many of them? You know what I'm saying? We doing this, they doing this. Man, it is a lot of resemblance. Bam, there go. They the Hot Boys.
I think it's interesting how as Wayne grows up, that a lot of people probably ignore the fact that he's a bit young, but people often acknowledge how he had an estranged relationship with Baby.
Wizzle. Okay. I got my son right here. Okay. Special delivery too. He was a special delivery. You all right? Yeah. Big Lack. How you doing, Wayne? Big fella. I'm good. Look, got the whole family.
Who was older than him, and he would often refer to himself as Birdman Jr., and he would often acknowledge how he didn't have a father, but he referred to Baby, again, someone who's an adult, as his father. He used to even make statements like, "Stunned like my daddy." So you can tell from the beginning that Wayne really trusted Baby, but there was often speculations that he was exploited by Baby, and there were comments that Wayne still decided to be loyal to him. So again, you see how Wayne kind of stayed lost, and he did acknowledge how he basically was given women at a young age. And he talks about this to a young child.
Man, Twist, what you laughing at, man? How you get that? You get that? You understood that? You sucking on clits over that butt? It came on that motherfucker. That nigga. Oh, you a Twist?
15.
Yeah, fuck.
Huh? Oh my God.
You bet I'm on the real. Cause I'm the real. I was fucking at 11. I had Nate at 15, nigga. I had my daughter when I was 15, nigga. It ain't cause you a male, it ain't cause you 15, you supposed to, cause you're young money. You're supposed to. Fuck that shit, nigga. I started fucking. I got raped when I was 11, Twist. And I loved it. I ain't never pressed charges. I'ma do you like baby them did me. Yeah. I'll never forget that day. Yeah, no, they was all in the kitchen. I was scared. It was cool. There was about this many niggas and shit too in that bitch. I never forget the word. Suck Lil Wayne, let dick. I was sitting on the couch. Everybody in that bitch. That nigga was like talking. Girl with your good dick. Girl, you know you suck with your good dick. Suck on that. Boy, that bitch suck on nigga. Have a nigga. Good bitch. Suck Lil Wayne, let dick. I'm sitting there like, sure, yeah. Suck up. I ain't never had this happen. In front of G. Oh my God, that was the best ever, boy. I walked out that bitch, I felt like I killed 5 niggas, ran through 3 banks, boy. You don't understand. I was a different man after that. I was Lil Wayne. After that, yeah.
And he basically asked him if he's a virgin. And in a way, he taunts him, but he also acknowledges again that he was introduced to sex at a very young age. His brain probably didn't develop like a normal child's would, with having to hustle and being introduced to so much violence. And I'm not saying that that excuses him from anything, but I will say that this can contribute greatly to who he is today, in my opinion. So it's ironic that Wayne decides to talk about how racism doesn't exist in the United States, which I will go into more details later. But early on, again, Wayne is introduced to violence in New Orleans, and a lot of that is contributed to the ongoing racism that African Americans have experienced there. Lil Wayne would say, before he would make claims that racism doesn't exist, "I'm loved and praised in the USA. My ancestors were slaves in the USA." Ironically, after his rock album debuted with those lines, you would kind of see a decline of Lil Wayne, or as some conspiracists would say, a humiliation ritual. I would say that probably after Lil Wayne scored a bunch of riches and even put on the Rockstar album, that you just see him dwindling and like spiraling out.
Clearly, Lil Wayne answers to no one.
Is that an interview that you actually gave with Katie Couric?
Is that an interview that I actually gave with Katie Couric?
Yeah.
What's your name again?
Hey, well, that's not the question.
What's his name?
Pete Ross.
Huh?
Pete Ross.
Pete Ross, that's a stupid ass question. You just saw me on there giving an interview with her.
Okay. So that was you. Did you perform at the Virgin Mobile Music Fest in 2008 with Kanye West?
I don't know, but I know I did perform at this badass bitch birthday party recently. She was crazy, stupid thick.
Isn't it something that you would remember if your album, The Carter 3, was the biggest selling album of the year in 2008?
Isn't it something that I would remember that?
Yes.
Isn't that a personal opinion type question? That's why I got that. I mean, because I would be actually answering the question to, isn't it something? That's my question. Isn't it something?
That you would remember.
Isn't it something? That's the question I have to answer, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Isn't it something?
You could do the best trying to answer it.
Yeah, it's something out of your ass. That's my answer. Yeah, it is something out of your ass.
Have you ever hired a photographer to photograph an event?
Have I ever hired a photographer to photograph an event? Sorry, sir, no, I'm a superstar. People hire them themselves to photograph me. We don't hire them.
Do you recall that any criminal actions were pending against you at the end of 2008?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall being at all concerned about any criminal actions that may have been pending against you at the end of 2008?
I don't recall.
Do you recall that in the summer of 2007 you were arrested in New York City following a performance at the Beacon Theater?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall that police in New York City discovered a .40 caliber pistol on you, on your person?
I don't recall that neither.
Do you recall that in late 2009 you pleaded guilty to attempted criminal possession of a weapon?
I don't recall that neither.
Did you serve any time in jail following the end of 2009?
I don't know.
Didn't you serve about 8 months at Rikers Island in 2010? Do you remember being arrested in or about January 2008 near Yuma, Arizona?
No, I don't remember that.
Do you remember being charged in early 2008 with possession of narcotics for sale, possession of dangerous drugs, misconduct involving weapons, and possession of drug paraphernalia?
No, I don't recall that.
Well, how much longer is this line of questioning going to go on?
Not much longer.
All right, go ahead.
I don't know.
Didn't you win
I don't know.
the award for Best Rap Album of the Year in
I don't know.
2008 for the Carter 3?
I don't know.
Mr. Carter, you have to wait until the attorney is finished asking the question, please.
I'm sorry, that's my psychic. I'm sorry.
How would you describe your image in the media?
How would I describe my image in the media?
Yes.
I wouldn't describe it.
Well, how would you describe it if you had to?
I don't have to.
Well, what image are you portraying in the media?
I don't portray anything. I am who I am, and you guys portray what you get.
No, who are you? Who is the
I
real?
am Dwayne Michael Carter Jr.
Okay. Do you like to portray yourself as?
I just answered that and said that I don't like to portray myself as nobody.
Okay.
I completely be Dwayne Michael Carter Jr. I don't portray myself as anything. An image is self-described.
Well, you have to wait till I'm done with the question.
I don't have to wait to anything, honestly. I mean, this guy right here may tell me that I have to wait, but personally, I don't have to do that.
Go ahead, ask the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you like
He
to?
can't save you, right? In the real world. That guy right there. He can't save you in the real world. Just so you know.
What does that mean?
I don't have to elaborate.
So a lot of people think that Lil Wayne's rises from rags to riches are relatable. A lot of people love his music. And there has been people like Natalie Graham who has said the following. Using Lil Wayne's music as a study in the performance of blue feelings, the legacy of death, dying, and drug use is clear. Although they are often perceived as insane, suicidal, demonic, or murderous, Southern Black articulations of masculinity, declaration, inevitability of death can be read as an affirmation rather than negation of the self and relationship of the material conditions of Black life. This really sums up how Wayne has been often overlooked as someone who contributed greatly to, again, not only the young gangster rappers of today, like the child stars who would come after him, whether it be NBA Youngboy, but just being that vulnerable to talk about drug addictions or just like growing up in the South. Fans align with it. The author in particular talks about the blues or the blue feelings. And the blue feelings, again, can remind you of depression or the darkness that Black people often experience. But Black males, they often don't talk about openly. And sometimes you might only hear it in rap music. And yet, I like how she ended her quote by saying that death can be read as an affirmation rather than negation. So it's kind of like when you're going through all of these external factors that sometimes people just accept it as a part of their life. And she also mentions the material conditions of Black life. For some people, they're dealing with what can life give me? And they just accept it. So I never really liked the idea, I don't have to do anything but stay Black and die. A lot of y'all might have heard that before. That phrase is kind of like, to me, an affirmation of resilience, but it's also, to me, an affirmation of death. But my point is that some people have accepted a fate that isn't really a good fate. When I hear you don't have to do anything but stay Black and die, to me, that's like saying that you don't have to fight at the same time or thrive. And to me, it's easy to die as a Black person in the United States. So now I'm going to talk more about Lil Wayne's drug addiction. So he wrote a song called I Feel Like Dying, and it was leaked in 2007. In his song, Wayne stood atop his rapidly growing platform. At the time, literally everything he did was an event as the quote-unquote best rapper alive and declared himself an addict. The lucid imagery of the lyrics, combined with a chilling sample of Karma's Once, lurched the brain between concerned sympathy and wanting to climb into the clouds too. Lines like, I can mingle with the stars and throw a party on Mars. I am a prisoner locked up behind Xanax bars. Or his chuckles amid the dour hook create a funhouse effect that juxtaposes allure and dread. As insidious as addiction, I feel like dying is torture cloaked in sheer bliss. Here, it wasn't just weed or alcohol, which had long been accepted in the hip-hop community, plaguing the rapper. Even codeine use had been somewhat normalized through the late 90s and early 2000s. Wayne's third verse, focusing on the anti-anxiety pill, Xanax, and the song's bleak messaging in contrast to the reckless abandon of other drug-oriented music, put it in a league of its own. Prescriptions simply weren't the cultural fix of choice at the time, partly due to access, partly due to their taboo nature, but that was soon to end. According to a study conducted by the Drug Slang and Hip Hop Project 2007, is the point when pharmaceutical drugs, Xanax, Adderall, Percocet, Valium, began to establish themselves in rap's lexicon. Of course, correlation is not the same as casualty. Rap tends to mirror American society in general, magnifying the issues of everyone to see. And so Vice again talks about how Lil Wayne would talk about his drug addiction in music. And again, this was a time where you didn't really see it. And so again, you would see a trend of more rappers like even Future talk about Percocets and just being very emotional. And I remember one of Future's songs that I actually liked was Purple Rain. And I don't even like Future like that. It was one of the first times that I heard like a trap star just talk about how they were down. Someone can be down and missing someone. And unfortunately, some people do decide to do things like drugs when they are dealing with life's trouble. Anyway, let's get back to Wayne. When Wayne told MTV, it ain't that easy. It feels like death in your stomach. He may be one of many celebrities who surround themselves with people who are not going to challenge self-destructive behavior. And this was stated by a medical health staff. This medical staff acknowledged that Wayne was suffering from addiction, but when they said he may be one of many celebrities who surround themselves with people who are not going to challenge self-destructive behavior, it just reminds you of how people can be at the top and sometimes people can let you fall, or again, they just don't have the means or the willpower to stop the decisions you make for your life. In March 2013, Lil Wayne was released from a Los Angeles hospital where he was taken after suffering a seizure. Media reports that he was near death after suffering multiple seizures and having his stomach pumped when doctors found high amounts of codeine in his system. The rapper has professed his love for the prescription drug codeine in multiple public venues and in some of his most popular rap songs in the form of scissor, which usually involves mixing prescription cough syrup containing the narcotic codeine with soda and sometimes hard candy like Jolly Ranchers.
What happened?
Dehydration, working too much, no sleep, things like that catch up with you. And we found out that I'm sort of epileptic. And what we had to do was go back in history, meaning like go back to my past. And it sort of seemed like, well, this never happened to you. You've never had a seizure, so why is it just happening now? And my mom said, no, when you were younger, in New Orleans, that City Park, when I was actually real young, she was like, you fainted. And she was like, I guess for our lack of knowledge at that time, we didn't know it was a seizure.
But you hadn't had a seizure between that time?
No, and then I actually...
When it happened to you this year?
No, so we had to go back and we had to keep going, and we found out that one of my close cousins suffers from seizures real bad, and one of them actually died from them, so...
But a lot of people speculated, Wayne, as you well know, that this drink syrup,
yeah,
which we talked about, I know, back in 2009. It's prescription strength cough syrup and mixed with soda. What about the speculation that the syrup caused the seizures?
As far as the speculation, as far as how I feel about it, I asked my doctor, and I said, Doc, I haven't been drinking like that, and I haven't been drinking nowhere near as where you would be catching seizures from it, and so he said, well, Wayne, what it is he asked, what else have you been doing? And I'd been taking pain pills. And what he found out was that those pain pills consist of codeine as well. And so the lack of drinking the codeine the way I did drink it, and it was kind of like a reaction of you stopping the drug.
Do you do that anymore at all?
No, I can't.
And what made you stop?
The doctor did.
Really?
I was doing it too much. And, the doctor kind of told me, we can't tell you what to do, but I suggest that your mom tell you to stop.
And did she? Did she?
Yes, she did.
She said you cut it out?
Yeah.
Codeine is an opiate that is in the same family of drugs as heroin and morphine and can be very addictive in high doses. Promethazine has anecdotally been noted to intensify the euphoric effects of codeine in the brain. The LA Times would go on to talk about how in September 2017, Lil Wayne suffered from many seizures and was found to be unconscious in his hotel room when in Chicago. He was then hospitalized and released a few days later.
He was rushed to the hospital after he was found unconscious in Chicago. Reports say he suffered multiple seizures in a hotel room yesterday. The 34-year-old was forced to cancel his Las Vegas performance last night. Just last year, the rapper's private plane made an emergency landing after he suffered a seizure. 4 years ago, Lil Wayne revealed he is epileptic and prone to seizures.
This is not Lil Wayne's first time having seizures and being hospitalized, Neil McKinnell says. In December 2019, Lil Wayne's private jet landed in Miami. Police were ready with a search warrant to search his jet, where they found a gold-plated handgun found with ammunition, cocaine, ecstasy, marijuana, painkillers, heroin, and a load of codeine cough syrup. So as you can see, not only is Lil Wayne suffering from drug use, people know about it. The police know about it, the law enforcement knows about it, and a lot of these rock stars, rappers, etc., when law enforcement knows that you are doing certain things, or if they get a tip or whatever, they're going to search you. And more so than not, it's not because they care about your well-being, of course. It's because not only did you commit a crime, but you're someone who's rich, so they can charge you for their crime and make a lot of money.
New at 11, possible legal trouble for the rapper Lil Wayne during a stop in South Florida. CBS 4's Ty Russell is live at Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport with what we're learning from the authorities. What happened, Ty?
Well, Elliot, a senior law enforcement source told CBS 4 News the rapper is not in custody tonight after his plane was searched here at this airport. However, tonight it's still unclear what exactly led authorities here, who tipped him off. However, the rapper went to social media and says it may have been something he said on Twitter.
Forever. Now you're in the corner trying to put it together.
Fast forward to December 2019. A senior law enforcement source tells CBS 4 News Monday the rapper's private plane was searched for drugs and a gun at Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport. The rapper's real name is Dwayne Carter Jr. The source says law enforcement officers were working on a tip and were waiting for Carter and the plane at the airport. And that plane was carrying his associates as well. Law enforcement officers were able to get a search warrant. Late Monday night, the rapper tweeted, "All goody. I think they thought I was talking about a different pack in my last tweet. But anyway, go pack go." His previous tweet during the overnight hours early Monday morning stated, "Go Pack Go," in support of the Green Bay Packers ahead of their football game. Now, that source also told us nobody on that plane was arrested, and we may be learning a lot more about this after the holidays from the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Lil Wayne does not shy away from celebrating or discussing his use of drugs. He raps in the song Rich as Fuck. And I got Xanax, Percocet, promethazine with codeine. Lil Wayne's drug use is well documented. However, this litany of drugs and the inference of them all being used together can prove to be fatal. Medical professionals would discourage mixing medicines, particularly Xanax and Percocet. Both produce similar effects and can cause respiratory depression or stopped breathing. Adding quote-unquote purple drink to the equation, which Lil Wayne boldly indicates he uses, only intensifies this potential lethal combination. So, as you can see, Lil Wayne has, of course, a history of drug use. And some feel like this has contributed to maybe his memory, his lack of great performances. And a lot of people don't want to see him in concert. Even though people see him as a legend, there have been instances where people have seen him perform or talk to him in interviews about like some memorable lyrics, and Lil Wayne doesn't remember his lyrics. A lot of people have been concerned of his drug use and say that not only are his performances sloppy, but that they don't want to pay to go to a Lil Wayne concert where he's not his best self. So you could imagine that the Super Bowl, a multi-billion-dollar industry, probably wouldn't want to hire Wayne as well. Lil Wayne has said, "Go and get your money, Mr. Duffel Bag Boy. Get money." And in regards to misogynoir and colorism, if I ain't good looking, I bet my bitch is. Among a lot of famous rappers who often suffer, in my opinion, from internalized racism, they might view themselves as not being handsome or worthy. And for him to ironically make colorist lyrics about wanting a red bone or just wanting different types of women who didn't pretty much look black, you can tell that Wayne centers beauty outside of himself. He has made mentions of things like, "I like a long-haired, thick red bone," and "every girl in the world." He has made comments like, "Beautiful black woman, I bet that bitch look better red," and "right above." And in the griot, there was a dark-skinned woman who talked about meeting Wayne, and she says that she asked the rapper, why would he use the above lyric when his daughter is brown-skinned? And Lil Wayne replied, "My daughter is a dark-skinned millionaire. That's the difference between her and you." He then supposedly went on to say that he made sure that all his other baby mamas were light-skinned. You do see him with people like Lauren London, who is biracial. Lil Wayne has made other questionable comments that I have heard from his own mouth. And I remember one in particular where he said, "A bitch can't even buy freedom. That's why I give my white bitches anything but freedom. I do my white bitches anything but beat them. And if they like rap poison, I'ma feed them." In these lyrics, I think about how a lot of rappers, again, specifically black men, equate like being with a white woman to freedom. For him to say he give his white bitches anything but freedom, it just makes me think of like this complex dynamic, right? Some black men date white women in private and they mistreat them and they feel like they have got one up on white supremacy. But he also understands that there are consequences to abusing a white woman physically. And when he says I do my white bitches anything but beat them. I just think about how that's not like him, in my opinion, saying that he's someone who doesn't engage in domestic violence. Again, he's someone who understands that there are consequences to beating a white woman. And I'm not saying that Wayne is a woman beater, but it just lets you know that Black men understand how they have to respect white womanhood. Lil Wayne would also make questionable comments about Emmett Till, and he would issue an apology where a lot of the family I don't think they accepted that apology.
Lil Wayne's recent use of Emmett Till's name in his song Karate Chop Remix illuminated the need for more awareness about our cultural and historical foundations. His lyrical indiscretion revived Emmett's spirit simply to murder him again by trivializing the importance of those who sacrificed, struggled, and died for our equality. Sitting here with me are my cousins, Pastor Wheeler Parker Jr. and my cousin Mr. Simeon Wright, who are eyewitness accounts and who I call survivors of the Emmett Till tragedy. And I just wanted to share with you our response as a family as to the impact that his lyrics has had on the memory and legacy of Emmett Till. Wheeler?
My take is that not only Lil Wayne, his comments, but other rappers that have such disdain and hatred for women, it's just mind-boggling, and it really hurts and really makes me want to cry. I think something should be done about it. They should be brought to be responsible and accountable for these remarks. I don't know what that was, but there's something, format of something that should be drawn. To me, it seems like it's violating FCC radio communications, allow them to say things like that. There's such a disrespect for our women as a whole.
He would also make comments about Rodney King, and he would equate Rodney King's beating in the 90s to, which a lot of people feel like was police brutality. And so when Wayne makes comments about not only Rodney King, but Emmett Till, who was slaughtered in Mississippi as a child for whistling at a white woman, it just makes you think how Lil Wayne says anything that's reckless. And not only does he disrespect the Black female body, he disrespects the Black male body and how violence is also inflicted upon them. In 2016, Wayne would say that racism didn't exist.
Up here on national television and try to embellish in order to further advance the conversation, because then people are going to say, see, there's Lil Wayne. Not only is an athlete, we have an entertainer, a musician, a very prominent figure who's also experienced. So I commend him. If he's never, kudos to you, bro, in 33 years. I'm 48 years old from rural South Georgia. And if you don't think it's alive and well, Wayne, check my timeline. Check my timeline when Skip and I had this discussion last year. They still would use the N-word. They would still call you the animal with the ring around his tail. Hey, do you? That makes you feel better. I think it says a lot more about you than me, but I'm cool with it. It's not going to stop me from doing what I do.
Shannon, does it give you even a glimmer of hope, what he's saying about his more generation, the millennial generation?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that racism, bigotry is a learned, taught emotion. So if you do not teach someone to do that, they won't extend that. So it's got to stop somewhere, but you have to understand it's been going on for such a long period of time. You have 400 plus years of this in the U.S. People have been fighting back in biblical times. It was divided up. And so, like I said, Wayne, I commend you. I'm glad you're speaking. You're not embellishing a story. Being from New Orleans, experiencing what you've been able to experience. I remember reading where you say you accidentally shot yourself, but racism is real. He knows it's real, although he hasn't experienced it.
With that said, that night, that day, that I shot myself, the police, I was the only person in the house.
Right.
Police came through there. They knocked the doors down. I was on the floor.
Right.
They jumped over. They all hopped over me and went looking for the drugs and looking for this and that. It was a white police that came, ran up there and stopped and said, "What are y'all doing? Do y'all not see this baby on the floor?" And they said, "We called the ambulance. The ambulance." Say, "Ambulance, he has a hole in his chest." He picked me up. He brought me to the hospital himself. He was white.
And he would justify it pretty much by saying how a cop had saved him when he basically had a health incident. A lot of people were upset about the comments he made about Black Lives Matter and racism not existing. In 2021, Wayne was also pardoned by Trump. And he said, I want to thank President Trump for recognizing that I have so much more to give to my family, my art, and my community. I also want to thank Brad for Cohen for working so diligently to secure another chance for me, love. I know there have been pictures of Wayne with the president posted up. And honestly, I can't get mad at somebody for showing gratitude to someone who helped them. But it's just that Wayne, he just does a lot of coning, if I'm just going to be real with y'all. So now I'm going to just play some public opinion, and then I am going to conclude.
Have you ever actually met somebody addicted to lean or perks? Because if you had, you wouldn't even want them to show up to Chuck E. Cheese to sing happy birthday, let alone sign up to do the Super Bowl halftime show. Guys, Lil Wayne has been being held up by popsicle sticks for the last 5 years. He does not have it in him. He is a great artist, but he has a serious substance abuse that he's admitted to over the last decade. He needs his nurse. He doesn't need a halftime show. The inflammation on his face just went down. And that's not even me trying to be funny. That's my nurse eyes looking at him, doing a head-to-toe assessment and saying, ooh, he might need a motherfucking Narcan. Like, y'all gotta take y'all personal feelings aside and think about the artist sometimes. Y'all advocating for him to do the halftime show and not advocating for him to go to rehab. That's all I know.
Listen, man. Bull fucking who? Somebody please go in the back and get me the smallest violin for this man right here. Lil Wayne, Dwayne Carter, doing all this goddamn crying and carrying on because he's not going to be a part of the Super Bowl performance. Making videos talking about, well, man, you know, this really broke me. Well, my boy, go get some super glue and piece it back together, dog. This is the Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Billions, man. Billions of dollars going into this. Nationally televised, my brother. Nationally. Everywhere. Families at home watching this. Who about to sit up here and play with Lil Wayne and his last 7 surviving dreadlocks on the Super Bowl stage, man? Look at Dwayne Carter, bro. Nobody want to see this shit on the Super Bowl stage, man. My boy face like he just left Jigglypuff house. It's bad for my boy Wayne these days, man. Like, and this how I know we're not using this. We're not thinking because everybody mad talking about, oh, Wayne should do that. Wayne should be here. His own city didn't want him, y'all. His own city said, nah, we gonna let dog go head on. And don't get it twisted. He one of my goats. Wayne is one of the greatest of all time. But no, the Super Bowl stage, man. Nobody want to see Lil Wayne drugged out ass and them 2 dreadlocks flopping around. No way. And what song do he got that doesn't involve pussy, money, weed, or just drugs in general? This is the Super Bowl. Y'all use this.
Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Lil Wayne all have this thing in common where they are legends, but they also tarnish their own legacies. Like, Lil Wayne is always going to be a GOAT. He's always going to have a strong fan base that supports him. But at the same time, Lil Wayne has done questionable things in his career that turn people off from him. Even people that have been longtime fans. Lil Wayne started downplaying the Black Lives Matter movement. He was supporting Donald Trump. And he's also kind of a colorist. So, and then you have Nicki Minaj, a legend. She opened so many doors for so many female rappers. But again, it's like the way she behaves when she's going off as if she's not a legend. It tarnishes her legacy just a little bit. Also, when she chose to marry the person that she chose to marry, that unfortunately, it did put a little dent in her reputation. And she really took on that bad guy role. And then there's Drake with all those allegations about him liking people who are a lot younger. Drake and all the ghostwriting allegations. Like, people today say they can't even listen to Drake the same after the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. So it's kind of like, it's always the same sentiment with those three. It's like, oh, I love them, but I wish they just didn't do this, or why did they say that, or why do they hang out or surround themselves with this person? Like, they tarnish their own legacies.
What have you done for the community? You want to talk about House? What have you done? And the person you're defending, Lil Wayne. This is the same man who said racism's not real. There's no such thing as racism because he looks out in the crowd and sees white fans. He has such a solipsistic view of the world and looking at it through his own lens that he can't see racism because you have white fans. He said he doesn't feel connected to anything that he's not personally connected to. Not only that, he said you're a damn fool if you do. If you feel personally connected to anything, and then he proceeds to pull out his red bandana. That's the only thing he feels connected to. So, you're talking about somebody who doesn't give a damn about anybody else.
Damn.
So you want to talk about Jay-Z being a house nigga. Look at A, the source that it's coming from, and B, the person he's defending.
Yeah, you know, Lil Wayne did a lot of drugs, so he's gonna say some fuck shit.
Nah,
he didn't say all of that. I'm not giving him an excuse, but it's Lil Wayne.
Drugs don't got.
It's Lil Wayne. I don't want
to
hear nothing political or anything smart coming from Lil Wayne's mouth. I want to hear him rap, and I want to hear him be one of the greatest rappers ever. But I definitely 100% get what you're saying. Yeah, you just broke down some shit. It's true. Everything you said was fact.
Like you talking about Jay-Z being a house nigga. Look at the person you're defending.
It's fact.
What is the most unnecessary lyric that you've ever heard in a song? I'll go first.
How do you say what's never said? Beautiful black woman, I bet that bitch look better red. What, Lil Wayne? Like, I love Lil Wayne. Don't get me wrong. Know all his lyrics to all his songs from back in the day, because, you know, I'm a little older. But that line has always bothered me. Always bothered me. Always felt like it was very unnecessary. Very much a compliment. One of those. Hated it. Hated it.
Your favorite rapper has some colorism issues. So first, I'm going to talk about Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne has some very classic examples of colorism, like his most notorious song lyric, beautiful black woman, I bet that look better red. Not to mention he was just in the media. Him and 50 Cent were laughing it up, saying that black women are angry and that they're not exotic or whatever. And it's so embarrassing because his daughter had to go on Twitter about it. Next, we have Kodak Black. Kodak Black has said so many ignorant things about dark-skinned women. Like, he says so many ignorant things. He said that dark-skinned women are too ghetto for him. He said dark-skinned women are not his forte. He said he's already black. He doesn't need a black girl. Next, we have Blueface. The thing I don't appreciate about him is he literally let a group of girls make fun of a dark-skinned girl and rip off her wig and call her dark and ugly. And he posted the video on his Instagram.
Someone says, Lil Wayne may be the biggest tool of white supremacy in hip-hop history, and he made it very clear he gives zero ifs about the black community. Example, he publicly disrespected dark-skinned black women. Black women, I bet that bitch look better red, light skin. Lil Wayne said that he is rich, so America knows that Black Lives Matter, and express how racism is in your heads. Yeah, y'all came here to cry for him, all in the name of he's talented. Some of you are real descendants of the betrayal class. I ain't gonna lie, it was hilarious. I will be empathetic and say that where Wayne grew up was not easy. And again, he was adultified by not only his mother, but I'd even argue other adults, including baby. Wayne is from a region where colorism runs rampant, and given the idea that white and mixed women, or even light-skinned women, are seen as a reward or idea of success, it's not surprising that he has been perceived as a colorist, whether through lyrics or choosing non-black women as baby mamas after he quote-unquote got on. Wayne made a lot of club hits, mixtapes, and variety, and I would still argue there would be no Drake if it wasn't for Wayne. Wayne protected Drake to a degree and showed him how to maneuver. Not only was Wayne black, respected, and from the South, the Deep South, Wayne was popular and also a child star, similar to Aubrey Graham. However, the tables have turned, and now a biracial Drake is one of the largest pop stars rappers in the world. The difference is that Wayne is a recovering drug addict and actual victim of the Jim Crow South, and his anti-blackness as a dark-skinned black man is more scrutinized than a light-skinned biracial passive-aggressive Drake. Yet just like the beginning of Drake's career, he low-key is still using Wayne to get him out of the embarrassment of being a questionable rapper with his Kendrick beef. However, Wayne is arguably out of his mind and basically a fallen star, and Drake is now one of the most popular musicians in the world. So everything is kind of a full circle. And when it comes to Wayne cares so much about non-Black people that he got used by one and wants the sympathy of Black folks now. Because be honest, who else will care about Wayne? I honestly think this proximity is used to bring attention to the Super Bowl as well. What are your thoughts on this subject overall? Let me know down below. And thank you so much for listening to Books and Looks TV. I'll see y'all next time.